When Air Force mechanic Zara Steel's back tattoo was seen by everyone, the general froze. It was classified aircraft blueprints. Staff Sergeant Zara Steel wiped the grease from her hands as she emerged from beneath the F-35 Lightning II fighter jet, her dark hair pulled back in a regulation ponytail, revealing the focused intensity in her brown eyes. At 27, she was the youngest senior aircraft mechanic at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada, known for her ability to diagnose and repair complex aircraft systems that stumped veteran technicians. "Steele, you've got that bird purring like a kitten again," called out Master Sergeant Rodriguez as he watched Zara complete her final systems check. What was wrong with the avionics this time? "Faulty connection in the mission computer interface," Zara replied, securing her tools in the maintenance kit. "Nothing a little rewiring couldn't fix." What her fellow mechanics didn't know was that Zara possessed an almost supernatural understanding of aircraft design and engineering. She could visualize complex systems in 3 dimensions, understand airflow dynamics intuitively, and modify aircraft configurations in ways that shouldn't have been possible for someone with standard technical training. The reason for her exceptional abilities was permanently etched into her skin, hidden beneath her regulation uniform. All aircraft, this is Tower Control," the base-wide announcement crackled over the speakers. "We have incoming hostile aircraft. This is not a drill. All personnel to emergency stations immediately." Zara looked up from her maintenance checklist as alarms began wailing across the flight line. In the distance, she could see aircraft scrambling for takeoff while ground crews rushed to secure equipment and vehicles. "Steele, get that Lightning ready for emergency launch," Rodriguez shouted over the growing chaos. "We need every flyable aircraft in the air right now." But as Zara began the pre-flight sequence, a massive explosion rocked the far end of the airfield. Enemy missiles had found their targets, and several hangars erupted in flames. The F-35 she'd just repaired shuddered as debris rained down around them. "Direct hit on Hangar 7, someone screamed over the radio. "We've got aircraft down across the flight line." But Zara's story doesn't end here, because when her tattoo was revealed, what she did changed all military engineering. As another wave of enemy missiles struck the base, and Zara watched in horror as the F-35 she'd been preparing took shrapnel damage to its engine compartment. The sophisticated fighter jet that had been mission-ready moments before was now a twisted mass of metal and electronics. "All aircraft grounded due to battle damage," came the order from base command. "Repeat, no aircraft are cleared for takeoff. We're fighting this one on the ground." Zara stared at the destroyed F-35, her mind racing through possibilities that no standard aircraft mechanic should have been able to conceive. The airframe was damaged, but structurally intact. The weapon systems were offline, but potentially salvageable. Most importantly, the engine core was still functional despite the external damage. "Rodriguez, I need a cutting torch and a welding kit," Zara called out. "Steele, that bird is done for. Focus on helping evacuate the wounded." "No, sir. I can make this aircraft flyable again, but I'll need your help, and I'll need you to trust me." Rodriguez looked at the twisted wreckage that had once been a state-of-the-art fighter jet. "Zara, that's impossible. The flight control systems are completely destroyed." "Not impossible. Different." As Zara began stripping damaged components from the aircraft, another enemy attack wave approached the base. This time, she could see them clearly. Enemy fighters conducting strafing runs on the grounded American aircraft. "We need air cover, and we need it now," Rodriguez muttered, watching the enemy aircraft systematically destroying everything on the flight line. That's when Zara made a decision that would change everything. She needed to access information that she'd carried with her for years, but never used. Information that was literally written on her skin. "Rodriguez, I need you to help me with something, but what you're about to see is classified above your clearance level." "What are you talking about, Steele?" Zara turned around and began removing her uniform shirt, revealing a complex tattoo that covered her entire back. It wasn't decorative art. It was a detailed technical blueprint of an experimental aircraft design, complete with specifications, measurements, and engineering schematics. Rodriguez stared in shock. "What the hell is that?" Classified prototype specifications for a modular fighter aircraft, and right now, it's our only chance to get something in the air. The tattoo on Zara's back was a masterpiece of technical precision. Every line, every measurement, every component specification was perfectly rendered in ink that had been applied by a tattoo artist with top-secret clearance. The design showed a revolutionary aircraft concept, a fighter jet that could be rapidly assembled from modular components designed for quick battlefield repairs and modifications. Steel, where did you get this? This looks like... Rodriguez's voice trailed off as he recognized elements of the design. My father was Dr. Marcus Steel, chief engineer for the Raptor project. Before he died, he made sure I'd always carry the knowledge of his most advanced design. He said someday it might be needed. Rodriguez realized he was looking at specifications that were years ahead of current technology. The modular design would allow damaged aircraft to be rebuilt using components from multiple sources, creating hybrid fighters that could operate despite massive battle damage. Can you actually build this? I can modify what we have to match these specifications. It won't be pretty, but it'll fly, and it'll fight. As Zara began implementing her father's design, using the damaged F-35 as a base platform, word of her unusual tattoo spread through the base. Within minutes, a security team arrived to investigate. Sergeant Steel, you need to come with us immediately, announced Captain Hayes from base security. That tattoo contains classified information. Captain, with respect, that tattoo is about to save this base. Give me 30 minutes. Hayes studied the complex blueprint covering Zara's back. Even with his limited technical knowledge, he could see that this was far beyond standard aircraft design. I need to contact my superiors immediately. Now comes the most shocking part. When Zara's true identity was revealed, even the base commander started trembling. 20 minutes later, a black SUV screeched to a halt near the damaged aircraft. General Patricia Morrison, commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory, emerged wearing a grim expression. She'd been in an emergency briefing when word reached her about a mechanic with classified blueprints tattooed on her back. Where is she? Morrison demanded. Rodriguez pointed to where Zara was welding components from 3 different aircraft into a single hybrid fighter. Sir, she's been working non-stop. Claims she can get that thing airborne. Morrison approached Zara's work area and stopped dead when she saw the tattoo. She recognized the design immediately. It was the Phoenix Project, the most classified aircraft development program in Air Force history. Sergeant Steel, step away from that aircraft immediately. Zara looked up from her welding torch, sweat dripping down her face. General, I need 15 more minutes. This bird will fly. That tattoo on your back contains information classified above top secret. How did you obtain those specifications? My father designed it, Dr. Marcus Steel. He said you'd remember him. Morrison's face went pale. Marcus Steel had been her mentor, the brilliant engineer who designed revolutionary aircraft concepts that were decades ahead of their time. He died in a classified accident 10 years ago, taking his most advanced designs to the grave. Marcus never told us he had a daughter in the Air Force. He told me to keep it quiet until the designs were needed. Looks like today's the day. Morrison studied the hybrid aircraft Zara was creating. Using components from the damaged F-35, parts from a nearby F-16, and improvised systems created from base equipment, Zara had built something that shouldn't have been possible. This is insane. You're combining systems from different generations of aircraft. The Phoenix design accounts for that. It's modular. Any component can interface with any other component through adaptive systems. Dad designed it specifically for battlefield modifications. Another wave of enemy aircraft appeared on the horizon, and Morrison realized they were running out of time. The base's remaining defensive systems had been damaged in the previous attacks. How long until this thing is ready? Give me 10 minutes and I'll have you an operational fighter that can take on anything in their Air Force. But wait, you haven't heard the most unforgettable part of the story yet. When Zara made that modification, a 10-year military secret was finally solved. As Zara completed the final connections on her hybrid aircraft, General Morrison watched in amazement. The young mechanic was implementing modifications that the Air Force's best engineers had deemed theoretically impossible. "Sergeant, your father's Phoenix design was rejected because our computer models said it couldn't work. The aerodynamics were too complex, the system's integration too difficult." Zara smiled as she secured the last component. "Computer models can't account for intuitive engineering. Dad taught me to see aircraft as living systems, not just collections of parts." The result of Zara's work was unlike anything in the Air Force inventory. The basic airframe was F-35, but the wings had been modified with F-16 control surfaces. The engine had been enhanced with improvised thrust vectoring using base workshop equipment. Most remarkably, the avionics had been completely rewired using a hybrid system that combined multiple aircraft generations. "This shouldn't be flyable," Morrison muttered. "It's not just flyable, General. According to Dad's calculations, it should be faster and more maneuverable than anything currently in service." As if to emphasize the urgency, enemy fighters began their attack run on the base. Without air cover, the remaining ground installations would be destroyed within minutes. "I need a pilot," Zara announced. "You're not qualified for combat flight," Morrison replied. "I'm qualified on simulators, and I know this aircraft better than anyone else possibly could. I built it." Morrison looked at the approaching enemy formation, then at the improvised fighter that represented their only hope. "This is completely against regulations. So is losing an entire airbase." Morrison made a decision that would either save the base or result in a court-martial. "Get in the cockpit, Sergeant. Show me what your father's design can do." Here's where the story really begins. Because when Zara's tattoo guided her modifications, it collapsed the entire enemy strategy. Zara climbed into the cockpit of her hybrid fighter and immediately understood why her father's design had been so revolutionary. The aircraft responded to her inputs like it was reading her thoughts. Every system integrated seamlessly with every other system, creating a level of pilot-aircraft interface that exceeded anything in current service. "Phoenix 1, this is Tower. You are cleared for immediate takeoff. Enemy aircraft inbound, distance 5 miles. Zara's hybrid fighter roared down the runway and lifted off with power that surprised even her. The modified engine configuration provided thrust-to-weight ratios that shouldn't have been possible, while the aerodynamic modifications gave the aircraft maneuverability that defied physics. Phoenix 1, contact enemy fighters, 12 bandits at various altitudes, mixed aircraft types. Zara could see the enemy formation approaching in loose combat spread. They were confident, professional pilots flying advanced aircraft. They had no idea they were about to encounter something that existed nowhere in their threat assessment databases. The first enemy pilot to engage Zara's hybrid fighter expected a standard F-35 response pattern. Instead, he found himself facing an aircraft that moved like a combination of every fighter jet ever built, with capabilities that exceeded all of them. Zara used her father's design philosophy. The aircraft wasn't limited by single-role doctrine. It could dogfight like an F-16, strike like an F-35, and maneuver like an experimental test aircraft because it incorporated elements from all of those platforms. Her first kill came when an enemy fighter tried to engage in a turning fight. The hybrid aircraft's modified wings and control surfaces allowed sustained turn rates that no production fighter could match. "Splash one enemy fighter," Zara reported calmly. "Phoenix 1, how did you pull 9 Gs in that turn?" Adaptive flight controls. The aircraft modifies its configuration in real time based on flight conditions. And now, the most incredible part. Zara's engineering mastery that day revealed her not just as a legendary mechanic, but as a weapons innovation legend. The enemy formation reacted with confusion and growing panic as Zara systematically dismantled their attack. Her hybrid fighter performed maneuvers that violated their understanding of aircraft limitations, achieved speeds that shouldn't have been possible, and demonstrated weapons accuracy that exceeded anything in their experience. "What type of aircraft is that?" the enemy flight leader demanded over their communications. "Unknown configuration," came the reply. "It appears to be using technology not in our intelligence databases." Zara's second and third kills came in rapid succession. She was using her father's combat theories. The Phoenix design wasn't just about superior performance, it was about unpredictability. Enemy pilots couldn't develop effective countermeasures against an aircraft that constantly modified its own capabilities. Her fourth kill demonstrated the full genius of her father's design. When an enemy pilot tried to escape using maximum speed, Zara's hybrid aircraft revealed its ultimate capability. It could reconfigure itself for different mission profiles in real time. The engine thrust vectoring adjusted for maximum velocity, the wings swept back for high-speed flight, and the aircraft transformed from a dogfighter into an interceptor, capable of catching anything in the enemy inventory. "Splash 4 enemy fighters," Zara reported. "Remaining bandits are withdrawing." "Phoenix 1, return to base immediately. We need to understand what you've created." When Zara landed her hybrid fighter, she found the entire base leadership waiting for her. General Morrison approached with an expression of amazement and concern. "Sergeant Steel, what you've accomplished today will change everything we know about aircraft design and battlefield engineering." Zara climbed out of the cockpit, her father's blueprint still visible on her back. "Dad always said the Phoenix design would prove itself when it was truly needed. Your father's work was classified because it was too advanced for our manufacturing capabilities, but you've just proven it can be built using existing components." Over the following weeks, Zara's hybrid fighter was studied by teams of engineers and test pilots. The aircraft had performed beyond all theoretical predictions, demonstrating capabilities that required immediate integration into Air Force doctrine. "The Phoenix project is being declassified and fast-tracked for production," General Morrison informed Zara during her debriefing. "Your father's design will become the foundation for the next generation of American fighter aircraft." Zara looked at the technical drawings that now covered the walls of the engineering facility. Dad would be proud that his work is finally being used to protect people. "Sergeant Steel, you're being reassigned to the Air Force Research Laboratory as a senior engineer. Your combination of practical experience and theoretical knowledge makes you invaluable for future aircraft development." "What about my tattoo?" Morrison smiled. "Your tattoo is now the most famous piece of body art in military history. It's also been officially classified as a national strategic asset. Now comes the most dangerous part. 3 months after the Nellis incident, enemy intelligence agencies had learned about Zara's tattoo and the revolutionary aircraft design it contained. They realized that capturing her would give them access to technology that could shift the balance of global military power. "Staff Sergeant Steel, we have intelligence indicating that foreign agents are planning to abduct you," Major Jackson informed her during a security briefing. "Your tattoo makes you a high-value target. They want to copy my father's design. They want to reverse engineer the Phoenix project and develop countermeasures. Your tattoo contains information that could take their aircraft programs decades to develop independently." Zara realized that the knowledge permanently etched into her skin had made her both invaluable and vulnerable. The same information that had saved Nellis Air Force Base now made her a target for enemy intelligence operations. "What are my options?" "We can provide laser removal surgery to eliminate the tattoo, or we can enhance your security detail and continue using your knowledge for aircraft development." Zara thought about her father's sacrifice and the revolutionary aircraft design that had proven itself in combat. "The tattoo stays, but I want to train other mechanics to understand the Phoenix principles. The knowledge shouldn't depend on one person." And now the bombshell drops. 6 months after the Nellis engagement, Zara received a classified briefing that would change her understanding of everything about her father's work. "Staff Sergeant Steel, we need to inform you about the true nature of the Phoenix project," General Morrison began. "Your father didn't just design revolutionary aircraft, he was developing technology to defend against a specific threat." "What kind of threat?" "Artificial intelligence-controlled aircraft. Your father predicted that enemy forces would eventually deploy autonomous fighters that could outmaneuver human pilots. The Phoenix design was created specifically to give human crews advantages that AI cannot replicate. Zara studied the classified documents that revealed her father's true purpose. The modular design, the adaptive systems, they're all meant to create unpredictability that confuses artificial intelligence. Exactly. AI systems rely on predictable patterns and known performance parameters. Your hybrid fighter succeeded because it operated outside those parameters. The revelation meant that Zara's tattoo contained more than just aircraft blueprints. It held the key to maintaining human superiority in an age of autonomous warfare. Here comes the real shock. 1 year after the Nellis incident, Zara was promoted to technical sergeant and placed in charge of the Phoenix development program. Her tattoo had become the foundation for an entirely new approach to aircraft design and military engineering. The lesson of Phoenix, Zara told her first class of advanced aircraft mechanics, is that innovation often comes from combining existing technologies in ways that no one has attempted before. She walked to the technical display, showing her father's original design. When systems fail, when conventional approaches don't work, when you're facing impossible odds, that's when you discover what can be accomplished by thinking beyond normal limitations. One student raised his hand. Technical Sergeant Steel, how do we develop that level of creative problem-solving? Zara smiled, thinking of her father and the knowledge he'd permanently entrusted to her. By understanding that every technical manual, every regulation, every impossible limitation is just someone else's opinion about what can't be done. When lives are on the line, everything becomes possible. But the real surprise was coming now. 2 years after Nellis, during a major international crisis, enemy forces deployed the first wave of AI-controlled fighter aircraft. Conventional fighters struggled against the artificial intelligence systems that could process information and react faster than human pilots. But aircraft built using Zara's Phoenix principles proved devastatingly effective against AI opponents. The modular adaptive systems created flight patterns and performance characteristics that artificial intelligence couldn't predict or counter. Phoenix Protocol, as it became known throughout NATO air forces, was credited with maintaining human pilot superiority during what military historians called the First AI War. Technical Sergeant Zara Steel had proven that human creativity and adaptive engineering could triumph over any artificial intelligence, no matter how sophisticated. But more importantly, she'd shown that the most crucial innovations often came from the most unexpected sources. And now, the real story begins. Today, Chief Master Sergeant Zara Steel serves as Director of Adaptive Aircraft Engineering at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where she continues to develop aircraft that confound artificial intelligence and maintain human superiority in aerial combat. Her office displays commendations from successful engagements fought using Phoenix-derived aircraft, but the decoration she treasures most is a photograph of her father and a handwritten note. "Sweetheart, true innovation happens when you combine knowledge with courage and use both to protect what matters." Not everyone who carries revolutionary knowledge needs to announce it to the world. Some people quietly carry the keys to the future, waiting for the moment when that knowledge becomes essential for survival. Zara didn't choose to become a legend. She simply used her father's gift to solve an impossible problem, and in doing so, proved that the most important innovations often come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes what the world needs isn't someone demanding recognition. It's someone who understands that knowledge is only valuable when it's used to protect others. And so the story finds its true meaning. Somewhere in a classified facility tonight, another mechanic trained in Phoenix principles is building impossible aircraft from damaged components, ensuring that human ingenuity remains superior to artificial intelligence. Because that's what real innovation looks like, not the technology that demands to be seen, but the knowledge that works in silence, ensuring that when everything else fails, human creativity can still save the day. Zara Steel, aircraft mechanic, innovative engineer, keeper of her father's revolutionary legacy, understood that better than anyone.